This episode discusses childhood instability, addiction, and parental absence. The weight we carry growing up without stability. There are some childhood memories that never really leave you. They don't always come back as clear pictures. Sometimes they come back as feelings. Fear when your phone rings late at night, anxiety when bills are due, or an overwhelming need to make sure your home is always safe and secure. My childhood was filled with uncertainty. My mother loved us, but love alone couldn't give us stability. She struggled to provide for me and my two siblings, and because of that, we were constantly moving. We lost apartment after apartment. Some nights we stayed with friends, other times we stayed with relatives. We learned early that home wasn't really a place. It was wherever we happened to be sleeping that week. I still remember standing in a homeless shelter in the Bronx. My mother left me and my siblings there while she went to chase after a man. We were just children, scared and wondering when she would come back. No child should ever have to carry that kind of fear. There were nights in cheap hotels. There were nights when even those ran out. We would end up staying with family because there was nowhere else to go. It became a cycle we knew too well. For a while, we lived with one of my aunts in the housing projects. But when she became afraid that management would find out we were staying there, she sent us to live with our grandmother. We spent the summer with her until my mother finally found another place for us to live. For a few years, life finally felt normal. We unpacked our clothes. We made friends. We started believing that maybe this was the place where we would stay. Then it happened again. We were evicted. I was in sixth grade, and I remember the embarrassment more than anything. Kids at school knew what had happened. At that age, all you want is to fit in, but I felt different. I carried shame over something that was never my responsibility. As I got older, my mother's struggles became even harder. She developed an addiction to heroin. There were times she got clean, and each time we hoped this would be the last time. But addiction is relentless, and relapse became part of our family story. My father wasn't part of my life either. My parents had been married when I was very young, but he left. I grew up without him. When he died, I was around 21 or 22 years old. By then, I was already married and had two children of my own. What surprised everyone, including me, was how hard I cried. I cried for days. My younger sister couldn't understand it. She asked me, "Why are you crying? He was never there." It was a fair question. Even today, I think I finally understand the answer. I wasn't crying for the father I had. I was crying for the father I never got to have. I was grieving birthdays he missed, conversations we never had, advice he never gave, hugs I never received, and memories that were never made. Sometimes we mourn possibilities just as deeply as realities. Despite everything, my siblings and I made a promise to each other. We would never use drugs. We would never put our children through the instability we experienced. We would always make paying our rent a priority because we knew exactly what homelessness felt like, and we kept that promise. None of us became addicted to drugs. None of us repeated that part of our family story. Our childhood shaped us, but it did not define us. Growing up with unstable parents affects children in ways that often last well into adulthood. It teaches survival before peace. It teaches children to worry about adult problems before they've had a chance to simply be children. It can leave invisible scars that take years to understand and even longer to heal. But healing is possible. Healing doesn't erase what happened. Healing means choosing a different path. Today, I don't tell this story to blame my parents. I tell it because there are children living this reality right now. There are adults carrying these same invisible wounds, wondering why they still hurt decades later. Your pain has a story, your story has meaning, and your past does not get the final word. If you grew up in chaos, I want you to know something. You are not destined to repeat it. You can become the stable parent you needed. You can build the peaceful home you never had. You can break cycles that have existed for generations. Your beginning may explain you. It does not have to define your ending.